Looking for a new career? Welcome to Do HVAC Training Service Center in North Charleston. Enroll today in our comprehensive HVAC training hands-on field experience-based program, covering troubleshooting, maintenance, installation, and more on various HVAC systems and ductwork. We offer EPA and NAEP preparation and testing, along with various certifications. Enjoy payment options. Achieve certification in under 5 months. Enroll now for your new journey of skill development and career advancement. Log on to DEWHVACTrainingSC.com to inquire.
Thank you for listening to this Crew Network production. You can now listen to all the Crew Network podcasts on thecrewnetwork.net.
This is how the pros do it.
Live from the Crew Studios.
We really are live
California.
right now.
Check 1 2, testing.
It's time for the Bucks Effect with your host, Chuck Bucks.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the fucking Bucks Effect. Very special Bucks Effect going on live right here in beautiful Highland, California in the Bucks Awesome Studios. To my left, I have the stinkiest of stinkies.
The Bud Light guy.
God's mistake.
You might know him as DK Murph.
Oof.
That's it. What's his name? You might know him. Who knows?
I'm your Huckleberry.
We have to my right, to my straight across from me, Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
Himself. He fucking just pulls trees right out of the fucking ground. Give it up for Trayvon.
Yo.
Emily with the Downs, future husband.
And Emily, Mr. Emily with the Downs.
No.
And straight across, the one, the only, the funniest comedian at the 3 Iron, the most controversial comedian to date. Give it up for Dick Power.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, you want some? Yeah. Give me some of my power. Fuck you.
So we got a special episode for you guys today. We have Dirty D from X1039. You might, if you listen to the radio and back in the days, and as kids, we did listen to the radio, and you had a choice between old rock or new rock, alternative rock was what we're gonna call it.
Your choice is
it was your choice. Choice is yours. So you had that choice, and we chose alternative rock, and that is who we have on the show today.
We had like Arrow, K-Cal,
Yep.
and X.
99.9 for if
We
you
never talk about 99 point.
Oh, okay.
Upside down, they are 6.
Oh, yeah, right? But he's on the program today. I did get back from the Comic-Con and LA Comic-Con, and it was cool seeing all the Gabba people. Got to see my hero, DJ Lance Rock. He's very cool, very nice guy. Got to see the Yo Gabba Gabba characters. It was really cool. Seen Elijah Wood, seen a bunch of other people, and I didn't give them the time of day.
No.
They asked me for an autograph. I said, fuck off.
Oh, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we went there
you?
because my daughter, stepdaughter, is a big fan of The Office, and The Office crew was there. Rainn Wilson that plays Dwight on the program, and Dwight was on the panel, and Dwight was like, she was all into it because we got there quick because we seen him on the panel. And they were asking questions and shit. And then I'm like, The Office is not that funny. It seemed like everything went quiet at one time, and they kind of looked over at me, and I'm like, it's not. It's not that funny. Like, they do stupid shit like, Kevin's chili. And like, okay. Dude, that's not fucking funny, dude. Like,
It's all about like.
now, if Kevin farted in the chili, or if he took a shit and then,
Right.
yeah, that's funny to me. But that's not my kind of comedy. Like it's designed for people that think they're funny, but real dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's fine. Maybe some of it's funny.
It actually, you're right. It bears almost on the pseudo level. Kind of like Big Bang Theory,
Exactly.
where it's like some things are funny, but again, if you don't know what the fuck the context is, it's not funny, dude.
Oh,
It's-
for sure.
Right.
For
No,
sure.
It's
definitely.
like that.
Big Bang Theory is my guilty pleasure show.
God damn you.
Yeah, God damn you. Shut the fuck up. Okay. How fucking dare you? No, but like I said, it was not that funny. It's very dry.
Yeah, very dry.
And then there was, of course, some other people. I was going to get an autograph or get like some video for DK here. I guess he's a big fan of, what's his name? Matt Smith. Matt Smith was there. I didn't see him, but obviously if you pay, get in line with him.
Who is Matt Smith again?
I would have. He's yeah.
Who? He's Doctor Who.
He's Doctor Who, but he's also in the Targaryen. He's also in Targaryen, the new House of Dragons. So he was there. It was cool. Whatever. I'm not a huge fan, but obviously I would have done it for him if he would have made the video. But it said no videos because I was just hoping that he'd call him a fucking asshole.
Agree for a picture, motherfucker.
Yeah, but there's been a picture of me and him.
And then you would have done superimposed.
Fine. Yeah, then I put my head over your face.
There you go. Yeah. Anyways, we'll all go next time. We'll, if there's whatever, we'll figure some shit out, guys. We'll figure some shit
Hey, when everyone's not dying.
Whenever's not. Also to Mark, you might know him on this show. I guess is very sick in the hospital. He might pass on. If we do, we'll give him a tribute episode. Fuck it. But is Richard's stepdad, and he's not doing too well. But we want to wish him well and hope he's okay.
No, he's probably gonna pass tonight.
No, he's probably gonna pass tonight. He's probably gonna
pass tonight or
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, he's probably gonna pass.
Damn,
Tonight.
well, I mean,
Are we gonna roast him?
At least you go see your mom.
That's what I was saying, but then as soon as I said that, I regretted it, and I was like, "Oh, that poor guy." So I was like, "Does he really ever get any rest?"
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. So as soon as he's done from kidney failure, he's gonna hear Mark.
Holy shit!
Just when he thought he could get away from it, now you're going back to it.
Should have went with Satan.
Well,
But-
I mean, kind of was,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Are we gonna
Him
roast
and
him?
Yoli will be in heaven together, or hell, Mormon hell, whatever. Fuck, dude. They'll be on a planet. If they really believe in the Mormon shit, they'll be on some kind of fucking planet called Hermador, K-Pax, some shit. I don't know. Two Twix. One of the Twix is two Twix planet. I don't know.
Left Twix, right Twix.
Left Twix, right Twix. One of them will be on it. I wonder if he's still gonna wear like Mormon underwear and
yeah, for
Mormon
sure.
heaven. Yeah,
For sure they are.
because you got to guard your little dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a planet of people
Fuck her
wearing
through a
white
sheet.
cotton.
Yeah.
No one finds that disturbing.
No.
Never.
They probably no.
white
I
people
imagine
wearing
like
white
Mormon heaven. They have like they make like shit out of popsicle sticks and like sing songs about Mormonism.
And they just serve refreshments.
Yeah,
at the end.
they serve exactly, but they got bomb food.
Yes.
They
do.
got fucking
Always.
great
Oh, we do.
fucking food. Yeah.
It makes
Yeah,
up for
that's
the
what I'm thinking
brainwashing.
too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
We're terrible people.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we're fucking terrible. We're fucking terrible, dude. We're fucking going to hell.
Your options: slam a plane into a building or have 10 kids.
Yeah. Holy
So raise
shit.
10 kids and have bacon.
Stay alive or go to hell with
C'est
your
la
wife.
vie. But yeah, dude, rest in peace if you do. Mark, you did some you did jokes. They weren't good. They were dad jokes, but they were
terrible.
jokes. They were fucking
terrible.
jokes. Hey, but he did clown on you that one day during that roast.
Yeah, he did.
And it wasn't good, but it was like we made it good
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
somehow. Right? It is still a moment. It was still a moment.
Blood in the water.
So
You know.
rest in peace. All right, so let's give him a call and we'll fucking do it right now. Let's fucking give him a call, dude. We're gonna do it right now.
Gotta do that thing where they call somebody and they go, John Cena!
Yeah, we should have had a song for Dirty D ready. Dirty D. Done dirt cheap.
Yo,
Hey, what's up? Dirty D's in the house.
what's up, man?
What's going on? So we're really pumped up. If you on the line right now, we're just gonna go right into it. Dirty D. We have Dirty D on the line. Yeah. And like I said, just real before, back in the days, we did. Obviously there wasn't like Spotify, wasn't a bunch of other shit that you have today. There was radio, and we had 96.7 here in the IE.
Yep.
If you like classic rock, then you had alternative rock, which is X1039, and one of the main voices X1039 is Dirty D.
Yeah.
What's going on, Dirty D?
Right on, man. You just named my last 25 years, man. I worked at both those stations.
I know for sure. We're gonna go into it. So,
Crazy time.
so for sure, yeah, there was some crazy times. We're gonna go into all the stuff. Obviously, I know there was the radio. You obviously done it for how long have you been doing for radio for?
Oh my God! My first paying job was when I was 14.
Jeez.
Wow.
So I'm 47 now.
Right.
He's a baby.
For sure. No, yeah, you were really young getting into it. Because the thing is, I remember you when I first moved to the Inland Empire. This was in 2000. This was in 2000, actually, the year 2000. This is 2023, almost 2024. So I remember listening to you back in those days. I've been your friend on Facebook, obviously for a little while. I always wanted to get you on the podcast. I'm pretty pumped up. Everyone's actually pretty pumped up that you're on the podcast.
Heck yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. But we've listened to you forever, and yeah, you've always, like I said, you've been young. You were young getting into it because, yeah, obviously, if you as young as you are now, you've started that. And like I said, I remember you from the year 2000, so that you must have been in.
We were 15, 16.
We were 15, 16. You're probably like early 20s, teens.
Yeah, I cheated a little bit because my dad was in radio, so that's kind of where I got the lead from. So, yeah, when I was like 14, 15, I worked in a station called KZY that was in Anaheim, right by Disneyland, and I got to work there for the summer, but then I had to go back to school. It sucked.
For sure. What radio station your dad worked for?
He worked for a bunch of stuff. When I was young, like he worked out here in Inland Empire. We actually moved out here because he worked at a station called KFXM, which was like the last big AM radio station. Like FM was just kind of coming about like in the mid 80s. And so we had moved from Palm Springs from another station that he worked at. And then in the course of him working out here, he worked like at 99.1 and then bounced to Orange County, and then he bounced to LA after that. But when he was in Orange County, I was like 14, and there was this rad station he worked at. It was like a top 40 that played everything. Like it would be like Debbie Gibson into Guns N' Roses. It was just wild. But yeah, I got to work there and do promotion stuff, help in engineering. I ran the record library. It was cool. I was just a kid, and I'd go out to events, meet girls all the time. It was wild.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're going to get into that. We're getting into the Gotham wet T-shirt Thursdays, all types of stuff, dude.
Yup.
Because for sure, dude, like I said,
yeah,
you've lived life like a rock star. Because the thing is, like, we know for sure, like, there's definitely perks to the gig, dude. Like, and you've lived that life. It's like really kind of like the stuff that you get, because you get backstage of all the concerts. You get to go a lot of concerts because X1039 was the name.
Yep.
And I mean, I personally remember just like stuff that you would have at the Orange Show, a couple other venues, and it was, like I said, it was awesome, dude. It was such a great day, like a great genre, like a great year, like a decade of music. You know what I mean?
It's wild, and it would take me to be right here where we are in time in my life to really like look back and look at the blur and really say to myself, like, oh my God, so many things happened in such a short amount of time. I mean, yeah, it was over the course of say 2 decades, but like when you name all the concerts and stuff, like it was so wild. Like, I guess living in the Inland Empire, we were always so lucky to have so many different events and stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we still do. It's so centrally located to go to LA or the mountains or Palm Springs or, all these concerts that surround us, so wild,
That's what I'm saying. Like, and it was like names too that you guys brought up, like Sick Puppies, a bunch of other small, like Lit. Like, I think I remember John DeSantis reposting something recently that had like a badass lineup, and these were bands like really kind of like started in SoCal.
Yeah, it was cool. We really got the opportunity to break a lot of bands because like at the time, like a lot of the LA stations, at that time KLOS was really classic rocky. And K-Rock was very indie-ish. And, and then there was K-Cal. They were classic rock at the time. But X, we had this opportunity to play bands like you said, Sick Puppies. And, we had our house bands like Cottonmouth Kings, of course. And, local bands that were like Lit and stuff that were very close in the neighborhood. So, yeah, it was crazy to watch all these bands grow, and be able to play some of the stuff first. Like I can name some of the songs that we played before anybody else that became hits, like, Papa Roach Last Resort and Crossfade Cold, which I've never said this before. I've never told anybody this before, that in the history of me running Dirty Radio for the last 7 years, you have an opportunity to push what song is the most popular that you like. and that is the number one song, believe it or not, ahead of Slipknot. Crazy.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've always wanted to say that one day to like tell everybody that, but I've never brought it up. But when I go and I look at the statistics, it's like, dude, really? Like and it's so weird because that was just a song that was just, I think, just popular regional. You know what I mean? I think if you ask somebody on the East Coast, they'd be like, I've never heard that before. You know?
No, for sure.
Hey man, this is DK Murphy. I got a question for you. Maybe you can answer this. Maybe you don't know.
Sure.
There was a local band that I want to say they were called Shoppy. They had a song called "IE for Me." Have you? Do you remember playing them?
I remember that band. I mean, definitely that's old school, man. And that was like the first generation of the local bands, the scene.
Whatever happened to them?
I don't know. You know, it's so weird because a lot of these bands, you know, they go for maybe 5, 6, 7 years, and it's like it's hard to keep them all together. You know, it's like having like 5 different relationships. You know, like
well, they you know, you guys played them, and I was like rocking out in my car, just like yeah.
That's it. Hey, so Dirty D, obviously, you know, radio, it seemed to me, like, at least back in those days, it was almost like really hard to break into the business. It's like you had to like know somebody. So how did like X1039 start? How did you get into X1039?
Well, I started at Cola when I was 17, and the job I had was a board op, which is you just run the music. You're a DJ, but you don't talk. So KCAL had just taken over Cola. And so they needed people. I happened to, at the right time, was in there. And before I knew it, within like a week or two, I was doing like 4 or 5 shifts a week. And it just boom, from the ground up, I just kept going. And then like a year into it, I kind of pushed them. I was like, hey man, you know, I want to be a DJ. I want to be on the air. And, you know, I started making demos in the next room. I'd go do my shift and make demos. And then I'd, you know, hit up the program director and be like, here, check me out. I can talk, you know? And
Right.
He made me do it a couple times, and then he's like, bam. He's like, that's the one. He's like, are you ready? I'll never forget. It was Saturday, 3:00 in the morning. I was on from 3 to 4. And I remember the first song I talked over, and I was so nervous, but I was so excited at the same time, and did it. And then really from there, things just blew up. From there, it turned into 2 hours. Then it turned into a 6-hour shift, and then I made it across the hall to KCAL, which I was only 18 years old. So to me, that was like
shit.
I was the youngest. Everybody was in their 30s at the time, and I was this 18-year-old little punk kid, you know, rocking around with my suicidal tendency hat on, you know, like right on, man, let me rock. And then you know, I did both of those stations for a while, and then actually I got this opportunity to do like 3 nights a week on this country station in the Palm Springs. And I wasn't a fan of country at all, but I did it. But it was cool, though. You know, I went in there. So I would go do a shift there, then jam my ass back over here to Redlands, do a show. And then I basically did all that till I was about almost 22. And then that's when I got the job at X and switched over there.
Was X like a new thing, or did it's how many years after KCAL?
It was on for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the night that we heard it come on. I was actually there at the radio station. DeSantis was on KCAL, and I was on Cola.
Nice.
And he had brought in a little radio, and we just like tuned in. We're like, whoa, a new station, you know? Because, you know, back then, you know, like you said in the beginning, you know, there was no online music listening, you know, all that didn't exist. It was radio. If you wanted to hear that new Korn song, you had to listen to the radio, you know, then, you know, you would try to record it off the radio, or you'd wait to go buy it at the warehouse, you know. But
for sure, dude. I used to have this karaoke machine, dude. I used to have like a blank cassette and then wait for you guys to play some songs and then record it.
Same. Oh my God, same.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'll have to tell you another story that there's another whole story that goes along with the whole story I just told you. That's like the underground story, but I know you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll tell you in a second. But you know, basically, I had gone to X, when I was 22, just to do weekend shifts. That's all they had, and then that turned into overnights, and then I did some promotions there, and then down the line, I became the music director there. and did that for a long time, and then became assistant program director. And then for a long time, in the end, it was me and John basically doing all the programming there and stuff. And it was fun, man. It was cool, to play music and DJ every night and do all that stuff. But the side story for you really quick. When I was young, I ran a pirate radio station too. I ran an illegal radio station out of my house.
Shit.
And it was before that movie Pump Up the Volume came out.
I was just about to say,
movie?
pump up the volume.
Yeah.
I love that jam, man. It's with Christian Slater. But yeah, maybe 6 months before that, the station that my dad was at in Orange County, they had this little backup transmitter. And one time I was like, let me use that, Dad. Let me pop that in my room at home. And he's like, no, you can't do that. But then for some reason he brought it home one day and I played with it. And I had this little pirate station I ran when I was, by the time I got into junior high. And me and my good friend one weekend, we broadcast all weekend. And so many people tuned in that I actually got in trouble. I got in trouble at school. And by last week of 9th grade, they didn't let me go. I had to go out early because they were offended by some of the stuff that people said on there and all that.
Yeah,
Nothing changes.
And it was funny. My parents were like, "You little asshole," but at the same time, they're like, my dad was proud, all right, look what you did, yeah,
Like the man.
It was crazy. And the way I promoted it is me and my buddy, we snuck out at 3:00 in the morning and went flyers to school. And I'll tell you, it was Cope Junior High in Redlands. So that's where I went. If you're familiar with that school. So
Yep.
we flyered it, right? Well, that morning the janitor came and cleaned up the flyers. But this one girl she worked in the office and she had seen the flyers and she went and Xeroxed them again and then we put them out.
Nice.
And so,
Nice.
and still to this day, every time I talk to her, I remind her, man, without you, I don't even know if I would have gotten this far in life, And so that Friday night when we went on, we had all these people calling. And then by the next night, it just blew up. It was wild. And we did this whole weekend. And then from there, we were just hooked. Radio was I was hooked all the way from that and then working at that other station. And then, by the time I was 17, I there's not much I gave a shit about but music and radio and girls and,
Hell yeah, dude.
smoking weed, that was life, right?
How Dirty? How regulated was radio back in those days? Say for because obviously you are on the radio for a long time, and you had shows like Howard Stern and shit. But
it's a good question. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did push the limits a lot. I walked to the tip of that edge a lot, and there were times where I left work and I'd be like, oh my gosh, am I gonna get in trouble for that? There's this era where I had I don't know if you remember Veronica, but we did a show called Party Radio and then Extreme X, and she was like my little sidekick, and we were just filthy on the radio. It'd be like a Saturday night at 1 a.m, and we would be on live, and we'd have girls calling up. They'd be moaning and.
Oh yeah, dude.
I remember that,
dude, for sure. I mean, for sure.
This girl called one time, and she's like, "I want to come down and kiss Veronica," and we were like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm gonna set a picture of myself." Da-da-da. And then we look like, holy shit, she's nice. And no shit, the girl came down, and I'm just watching them make out. I'm like, you know what? Radio is awesome.
Dude, that's so amazing. So how did you get the name Dirty D?
You know what? I have to say, John DeSantis gave me that name, and the way that happened was this is when I was doing the late night, and I showed up one night, and he goes, "Dude, you've got 5 different girls on hold for you already." He's like, "You're not even on for another 7 minutes." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, and he goes on, he's like, "This guy, man, he's got all these girls on hold. We're gonna call him Dirty D from now on. He's Dirty D, man." And then I go on the air, and it's a couple minutes later, some guy calls, and he's like, "Hey, is this that Dirty D guy? Yeah, man, I want to hear da 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 da." And then it happened the next night, and it just stuck. Before I know it, it just turned into that. I never used it on the radio until people started calling me it.
No.
And then after that, I could never get the stank off me. It was that.
That's like how he's called Big Bucks, but we call him Asshole.
You just call me asshole. Fuck you, Joe. So yeah, no, for sure. So Dirty, let's get into the concerts. Tell me some good concert stories. Tell me some. Obviously you've seen so many bands. You've had a lot. So much experiences, I'm sure. But tell us some good concert stories.
Well, I think interviewing half of Metallica was probably one of my biggest ones. I got to interview Lars at the Honda Center in Anaheim one time, and I couldn't believe it, man. I mean, I was sitting there, and I'm like, dude, like, you don't even understand. Like, I grew up loving Metallica and, like, listening to every album over and over and over, and seeing him in front of me was just, like, surreal. Like, oh, my God, like, here we are. It was cool. He was super cool, too,
That's cool. Who's the biggest dick? Who's the biggest asshole you ever ran into in music?
All right, that's easy. So I'm at Ozfest, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in the back all set up, and it's an interview with Mudvayne.
Oh.
And they come out and they sit down, and I ask Chad a question, and he goes, "Well, the space aliens came down from the moon and da 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 da." And I was like, "Oh, cool, that's funny, da 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 da,"
Yeah.
And keep in mind, I'm live on the air. There's no delay. I am completely live.
For sure.
And so there's going to be no editing. So then I asked him the second question, and well, those aliens think that it was like, okay, cool, like, all right, like, I go to the next question, and then he has this like, oh, we really fucking hate to play LA area because all the family people come out and they want stuff and da 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 da, and it was just like, ugh, like he ripped 2 cuss words and totally talked shit on us. It was just like, I don't know, it was just ugly, And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then so I go to the next question. I'm like, fuck, sweating like you just said, drop the F-bomb, Then after another question, and then he's like, "Oh, well, those aliens." Like, okay, guys, well, thanks for coming. Next one, 9, broadcasting. Before I even said broadcasting live, they got up and walked away. And I was like, and the thing is that this is before they were even that popular. Like, I was playing their song "Dig" on my metal show, and that was it. Regular radio wasn't even playing them.
Right, for sure. I remember that.
Yeah.
It just left a taste in my mouth. And what's funny is, and I'm looking at it right now, I told my boss when I got back to the station about how everything had gone, And they were only one out of like 12 bands I interviewed in there. It was a wild day,
Right.
I'd interviewed like Slipknot, Rob Zombie, But I told her, I'm like, God, dude, this is what happened to me. And she was really good friends with that record company. Told her, like 4 days later, I get a phone call with an apology, and I got this lithograph signed picture by all of them that they sent me, and I still have it.
Oh, no
wow.
kidding.
That's fucking cool,
Yeah.
dude.
That's cool,
So
dude.
I forgave him.
Yeah,
But-
dude.
but-
Totally
but with
forgave you.
interviews, though, I'd say like Mayhem and Ozfest were like the wild days. Like we would rack up, like we'd interview like 12 to 15 bands in a day. It was crazy at times. It was one to another. You'd be like interviewing one, and out of the corner of your eye, you'd have somebody else standing there with the record company. You'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is wild, And what's crazy about those interviews is it's always like 110 degrees out there in sweaty San Bernardino. Like
Yeah.
Dude, as always.
it was fun. I miss those shows. I hear some rumor about some kind of show coming back there soon, but I definitely those were fun, man. Even the early 2000 Ozfest shows. Those were just wild, raw as can be, They didn't have all the Coachellas and all those kind of shows back then, per se. You know what I mean? It was like, that was the one big show,
No, dude, the Coachella's fucking soft.
Yeah.
Compared to what that is, dude.
Yeah.
For reals.
For sure. Yeah, no. Back in the day, all those metal festivals there were wild though. And even when you go to like another show, like even like an LA show, it was cool. You'd go see like one off or whatever. But to go and see like 25 of your favorite bands in one spot, like we pour out of there so hammered and sweated out.
Hell
and,
yeah,
like,
dude.
Yep.
oh man.
So I have a question for you, D.
Yeah.
First off, by the way, I was at Ozfest 2006. and I almost died at the second stage trying to get to Slipknot because I had asthma and everyone was moshing and all the dirt got in my lungs.
I was there too.
Yeah.
Dude, Dirty D's not your counselor. Hurry up and ask a fucking question.
All right. So my question is, what is one of your favorite metal bands? But also, what is one of your favorite guilty pleasure bands?
Okay. I would have to always say Suicidal Tendencies is one of my favorites. I know they're not straight metal. They're that punk metal.
Yeah.
But they're just always been my fucking go-to. And I love bands like Tool. They're one of my favorites. And Pantera, Sepultura, Slayer.
Sepultura.
I'm a metal guy by nature, but I listen to everything. And so my guilty pleasure, fuck, you guys are gonna laugh at me, and you're never gonna respect me ever again.
Crazy.
You're never gonna put respect on the dirty name. But I'm gonna tell you, dude. I fucking love me. Here it is. Some fucking old school Madonna.
That's not bad. That's not
bad, dude.
Hell no.
Hey, dude, as long as you just say like O-Town or something, you got my respect.
Life is a mystery.
Okay, calm down.
Yeah, dude. Madonna's cool.
Yeah, Madonna sings that song, not you.
Some Get in the Groove,
Yeah, dude, she's fucking horny, dude.
He just said home watching Dick Tracy.
I love EDM. I love classic rock. I love 80s music. There's certain songs like New Order, Blue Monday. I'll never get sick of that song. Anytime it comes on, I'm like,
hey, that's a boss song.
Yeah, that was a good cover that they did too.
Oh, for sure.
Orgy, yeah.
I'm fascinated with the 80s, man. Like, I love 80s music.
Yeah.
I love 80s movies are my favorite.
Okay.
I'm never afraid to go back to listen to old stuff and I have a big love for 60s music too, like the Animals and the Doors and Led Zeppelin.
Those are the classics right there.
And I love it. I love hard classic rock too. I love Black Sabbath, Dio, all that good stuff.
Dio.
But I love music though in general. I'm like, it's like a song started when I was born, and music just keeps going. Whenever I hear a song, I instantly flash back to where I was when I first heard it, or the last time I heard it. It's weird, but it's like my memory is best with music.
Yeah. For sure.
I feel like your life is that movie Almost Famous.
Never seen
it. I would say like my 20s, dude, were definitely crazy. My 20s and 30s were crazy, especially when I like hosted Club Metro and did all that. Like that's what
I was saying, Dirty. So you had like there was Gotham, there was wet T-shirt contest. Tell us about those days, dude. Tell us what's going on with that.
Well, I'd have to go back to Club Metro. Yeah, Club Metro was before Gotham, but that club, the first night I hosted it, when they gave me the Sundays there, the first night I went there were 700 people there, and I was like, oh my gosh, 700 people in here, all these girls, oh my God, this is wild. And then flash forward to a month later, it became 3,200 people, and it lasted like that for years. Wow. It was so wild. It was so wild. And so I think the crazy thing was I was like the same age as everybody, Right. It was like I'm in my young 20s, and they're basically like it was wild there. Like, unlimited tab, here's your VIP spot, host this dirty dance contest at midnight after everybody's drunk, and have a good time, and it was wild.
Dude, it's funny. I want to tell you something. We do comedy show. We do comedy. Some of us do. Anyways, I ran into a comedian and I told him, I said, "Hey, Dirty D's probably gonna be on the podcast." He's like, "Dude, Dirty D fucked my girlfriend."
Oh no,
dude! I don't know. I was dying of laughter, dude. I was like, "That's so funny." I'm gonna tell him that.
Oh my God!
He's in the garage with a knife.
Dirty D. So you don't have to share this if you don't want. What's your body count?
My what? My body count?
Body count. How many girls? Because we got a guy here, DK Murphy. He's very disgusting, but he's not a classy guy. But he's about how many girls have you slept with, DK?
114.
He's done 114. Have you done more than 114 or less?
Oh God. I don't know if I can answer that, bro.
Dude, Ric Flair's at 10,000. So
Roll your eyes to the left. So
are we
know.
saying under 1,000 or what are we saying, dude?
Man, geez, that's respectable, man.
Jeez, dude.
That's not a question.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like you live.
That's a setup,
It's
bro.
like a lot of people understand. Like,
maybe somewhere between the two. Okay.
oh shit! Oh wow! Because I was gonna say,
between none of your
dude,
business.
like you really did live life like a rock star. Like I obviously like I knew you from the radio. But we actually, you know, there was so many people different on the radio. But like I don't think people realize the lifestyle that you live, because you did do the big clubs, you did do the radio, and it was like I said, you're about the same age as a lot of the listeners, dude, and it just had to be a great fucking time.
It was crazy, you know, and it's always been such a balance of everything, you know. I mean, it wasn't just partying all the time, you know. Like obviously, like, you know, like at that time, I raised my son that I had a son at an early age. I've always been, you know, diabetic type 1, so I've always had to watch that. But you know, it moved very fast though, you know, because I would do 6 air shifts a week. I also did the programming stuff during the day, and then sometimes I would host 3 clubs a week and then do a band night or 2. So it was just like nonstop. Like I can remember times where I was like, oh my gosh, no sleep. And then previous to that, you probably don't know this, but I worked at strip clubs, DJing, right up to the point of getting hired.
Damn, what strip club?
I started at the one in Redlands. It was sports club at the time, and then became Deja Vu and stuff. You know, the only sports club, the only one in Redlands.
Now it's the
Yeah,
library.
I started there when I was 21. Yeah, and then I may have done a round at Club 215 back in the day.
Ew!
Oh, I remember that one. Yes.
Ew!
And then they had a club down the street called Temptations that was
Yeah, I remember that one.
Been there,
Jeez.
suck shit.
They mainly sold cat
And
food.
then, and then the Fantasy in Colton, I worked there for one day, and I was like, nope.
Jeez. Dirty D, with that lifestyle, dude, like, obviously I have a brother that is in the nightlife lifestyle, that does security and stuff. And obviously he's been in and out of like rehab. Did you ever run into problems like that? Or have you, like, cause I mean, for the most part, you've always showed up. Obviously you have to have some kind of, you know,
Have you ever been
discipline.
on TMZ beating up?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is, like, did that lifestyle ever catch up to you? Like, did you ever like think to myself, like,
You
did it
have to
partying
have-
too much?
It does for some people. You definitely have to have balance. I mean,
For sure.
I never got to where I was out of control and this stuff, but I was worn out. You know, there are times where I was like so worn out and so much. And there are times where I had to like stagger stuff because, you know, even the radio station, you know, behind the scenes, I did so much stuff, like all the things you heard on X that played between the songs. I made all those. I was the imaging director. Then all the commercials I had to make, and then, you know, doing programming stuff, talking to record people, putting songs in the system, editing stuff. You know, it took hours of every day. And then you do an air shift on there, and then you host a club. Like there was average days where I would start at like probably noon and not be home till about 4 a.m.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
I did that a lot.
And
that was
you-
at least three days a week. Yeah.
And you had a kid too, so I have a son. Yeah, I have a son as well. You know, but how do you balance that life? How do, like, you still, because obviously seems like you didn't sleep much.
Yeah, there were times, and I had my son when I was only 16 years old.
Jeez.
Believe it or not.
Whoa.
Yeah. So by 17, I'm working at Cola. I have my son who's a year old. It was tough, and I can remember working like 2 or 3 back-to-back shifts doing different stuff. Like I remember one Halloween, I was so tired this night because I had done a shift at the strip club, came back, took my son trick-or-treating, then had to go do my air shift at X, then had to do a bunch of production afterwards and be back at the club at noon the next day.
Jeez.
And I can remember just being so tired.
What
But, you know, when you're young, you know.
No, for sure.
what was probably the craziest thing you saw just in general during your career?
Oh, this guy. Yeah.
Jeez, DK, that's so broad, broad and open.
So many fucking. Are you kidding?
Brain fart. You gotta
What
think.
is your
Yeah,
favorite
dude.
color?
What is your favorite color?
No, you know what? When you said that, I thought of like 5 different things at the same time. But
Oh, see,
you know,
so
one
fuck
time
you guys.
I got to go to a Playboy Mansion one time, and that was
Wow.
awesome. And it was just like, it was just this wild. It was this party thrown by Cuddy Sark Whiskey, and Seven Dust played poolside acoustic. And and the irony was, it was like 2 days after Ozfest that I'd interviewed David Draymond from Disturbed.
Nice.
And when I showed up at the party, he was sitting out there again. But the first day he was with some other girl, and then I showed up there, he was with some other chick, and he's just like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Small world, man." I'm like, wow, that's a trip, you know. Like, you know, I had no idea he would be there. I just walked in this back patio, and there he is. I'm like, oh shit. I swear I'm not stalking you, man. I'm not following you.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Wow, suddenly my questions don't suck. Fuck you people.
Calm down, dude. Calm down. Yeah.
But I don't know. Another cool thing is one of those Christmas shows that we had a while back where Pennywise was playing. It was so surreal being on, chilling on stage, and you know I'm a bigger guy, so I got a little belly going on, and the guitarist comes and bounces the guitar off my belly. I was like, you know what, that's cool. I like that. We're gonna put that in my top 5 of radio right there.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you took a call. I know, like I said, I remember listening. You have the name Dirty D. People would call in. That would be crazy. Craziest call in. Just take us through maybe some of the crazy calls that you had.
Well, nobody let me forget about this one. But one time, this guy, he kept calling with his friends, trying to clown me, and you'd hear his friends in the background. Ha, ha, ha. And he called one time, and he goes, "Dirty D, you suck." And I don't know, instantly I said, "On your mama's kitty." And all of his friends clowned him and laughed. "Oh, shit, you got to. And you hear him say, "Shut up." And then I clicked, and I played it on the air, and then throughout the next song, I played it repeatedly over and over the song.
Dude, so we called you collect one time. we called 1-800-COLLECT at the time. It was like we called in. It's like, you have a collect call from. And we called the station, and I think you were always pretty cool about it. I don't know, like, this dude had the nerve to call me collect.
I used to get people that call from prison and be like, from the Apalachico
Fan mail.
Federal Prison Department, it'd be like, the call is from, "Hey, play Slipknot Duality."
So we were promoting a backyard. We used to do pro wrestling. We used to have a backyard wrestling we actually had a ring and everything, but we wanted to promote it on the radio. So we called you. I don't know if it was you or it was somebody working at night, and we're like, "Dude, can you promote our wrestling show?" You're like, "I don't know about that." And we're like, and then we went to the station, in front of the station, and started doing a wrestling match.
You start throwing each other into the windows.
We started throwing each other into signs and shit, and then we called in. But no, man, it was like I said, there was some good times that I know for sure.
I love all the randomness, you know, even like back when we were in the old building in San Bernardino by the mall.
Right.
That place was nonstop 24/7. I mean, there was hookers on roller skates and
Exactly.
crack in front of the window. And the morning show at the time, they did this promotion where they had people that were homeless living out there. They made them a patio and all this, and it was wild, man. It'd be like 4:00 in the morning, and I'd go outside for a little smoke break. And I walk outside, and all these people just kicking it, you know, little fireplace outside, and just the music on. And it was just wild, and it was like this month promotion they did. And people would come down and bring food all the time, and it was just like this live, like they turned the radio station into like a homeless shelter. It was crazy.
Dude, it's insane. I remember working at Moss Brothers Dodge on East Street in San Bernardino.
Corner,
And dude, we would see sometimes these raves would go on, and we'd see like half naked people just like walk up and down because they obviously want to park somewhere else, like walk up and down the street. I mean, as opposed to like the homeless. Obviously, the homeless is a different situation. We've seen a guy like straight up like was trying to jerk off butt naked, and then the cops bust him, and he busted a nut the same time that the cops busted him. It was messed up, dude. They roughed him up, tasered him, and everything. It was great.
Dude, I remember when I was dating that dyke cave girl chick that you guys hated.
Okay.
Howie?
Yeah, Howie.
Howie Mandel.
We heard that Blink-182 was going to do an interview at X, so we went down to the radio station. And then we call in, and I go, "Hey, where's Blink?" And they go, "Oh, it's already been recorded." I'm like, "Fuck!"
Oh, jeez.
Dum-dums.
You ever met Blink?
You know what? Yeah. You know, Travis used to be so local. He used to go to Gotham all the time and stuff. Like, I'd be hosting a night, and I remember one time they're like, "Hey, can you come and get Travis Barker in?" And I was like, "Of course."
Yeah.
Duh.
For sure, dude.
Fucking nerd.
He'd always roll up. He'd always roll up in this black Escalade, and he'd want to chill in the front and just kick it and talk to people, you know. But you know, he'd have like a gang of girls just chilling. I'd be like, "Man, this dude's living the life right there."
Yeah,
Hey, but those raves, that's funny. So those raves, I could hear those raves. I would be sitting in the studio at X, and I would turn the sound all the way down at like 4 a.m. when I was there, and I could hear. And so, you know the Denny's that's right around the corner from there?
exactly.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Okay, so back in the day, right? You know, we're talking like, you know, late 90s. I roll over there one time, right? And me and a friend, we were going to meet for breakfast. And we roll in the parking lot, and oh my God, there's this guy that's got his truck in there, and he's got this massive fucking sound system. And he's just subbing. And there's like, before you know it, there's like 500 people in the parking lot dancing. And so we're like, okay, this is cool. We're cool with this. We walk into Denny's, and some raved out girl chewing on her candy bracelet on her arm hands us a menu and goes, where do you want to sit at? I was like, okay, this is interesting. No staff to be found. It's just the place has been taken over.
Oh my goodness.
It was wild. So we actually sat down for a minute. So we were like, well, we got to see what happens here. And I say to her, I'm like, do you know that we're the only fucking 2 people in here that aren't rolling right now? Those were crazy days, though. I remember driving by that thing, you know, and that was a crazy scene. But that, you know, it's like you got these new ravers that don't even have an idea that there used to be a wrestling arena that would have some kind of crazy thing like that back in the 90s, you know?
So you obviously had like you had a Tool, right? You would play Tool every night, I believe it was.
Yeah. At 10 o'clock Tool.
I remember that.
And so what got you into that? Obviously, I know you are a fan. But you know, because I think they had on KCAL was Metallica, right?
Yeah, they've always had the mandatory Metallica.
Mandatory
Metallica.
But you had Tool. Was it like? Did you start the Tool thing after the Metallica thing, or was it kind of like you decided I'm just gonna play Tool because I get requested a lot?
You know, I think it was kind of one of those things where a few people at the station, you know, when we have our programming meetings, we're like, you know, we should jam something at that 10 o'clock time too. You know, let's put that. But you know, Bobby Sato, he used to do afternoons there, and he actually had a Tool feature. And at some point, that had moved and gone away. And then somebody said, "Well, why don't you do a block of Tool?" And so, you know, I think it was something that we didn't think would go, you know, would continue like it did. But you know, it started and it never left. You know.
No, for sure. My wife wanted to ask about Chester Bennington. What is your thoughts on that? Because there's been so many like linked deaths that seem like they've all died the same way. I know there's some controversy, but what's your take on it?
That one super surprised me, you know, like, and it just shows you never know the position that somebody's in, you know, you never know how humble somebody is, you know, like I remember him coming to the radio station, you know, I see those pictures all the time on my Facebook that are like, you know, oh, this, you know, years ago and da-da-da-da, and it's like, you know, he was such a nice guy and so talented. I mean, if you are a person that is into rock and alternative, it's like, you just know that they had something so unique, you know, that they did, you know, and like that era of their music and Korn and Limp Bizkit, definitely played a role into when I started over at X. You know, it was the same era. You know, all those songs were the top songs at that time. You know what I mean? And you know, you never know, man. That guy I never would have thought. You know, but here we are. You know.
For sure. No, he seemed happy. I mean, obviously there was some songs that was more dark, but for the most part, he did seem happy. Obviously, I do know that, you know, more towards, you know, we had radio, and then there became Spotify. There's a lot of, Pandora. There was a lot of internet apps that have music. People were downloading music on their phones. Obviously, the time of radio there's still radio there, and I don't know if there forever will be radio, but there's iHeartRadio. Tell us more towards like the end of like X1039 as far as being a rock station. And, you know, can you kind of go over more of the in the last 10 years or so?
Well, the station, you know, alternative radio, it's weird because the definition of alternative could be like 4 different things. You know what I mean? Like the way that people interpret how alternative is. We were always like we considered ourselves like a hybrid. So, you know, we were like half rock, half alternative, you know, more of the harder stuff. But, you know, in the last 10 years of the station, you know, it was a good time, but you started to see streaming come into play, you know, of course. You know, when I started radio, there was no competition. I mean, you know, MTV was gone by then. You had like Hughes and a couple things on TV, but it was radio. But then, yeah, you know, you have, you know, Pandora and Spotify and Sirius XM and other means of people getting music, and YouTube, you know, YouTube, of course, you know. But, you know, doing radio, we just stayed the course, you know, because radio appealed to a local following, you know, like, and if you were established at that point, you know, like if you're a new station coming on the air right now, like it'd be tough, you know what I mean? Like you'd have to like pry people away from streaming, you know, but you know, having the following that we did, the people that had grown up on us, you know, it, you know, we just stayed the course, but we watched music change, you know, alternative radio battles between, oh, well, do you play this Metallica song or do you play this Paramore song? You know, can you make them both work, you know? And so it just was this unique balance, you know, to try to just, you know, keep things on the path that they were, you know?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I remember listening to radio, and then I remember you leaving and then going to, like, I started hearing you on 96.7.
Yeah, I had gone back. Yeah, I had, so at that point, they had a different boss that came into play. And his thing was wanting to take the station more indie and 80s-ish. So, basically, I had gotten let go. And from my office there, I called KCAL, and the boss was all, move your shit over here. So I was like, okay. So I went back. I went to KCAL, and then I just had some part-time stuff. And then I ended up going back there for a little while. And then X had returned kind of the way they were. That's when they put John DeSantis back, and he was in charge. And the station was going to go more rock again. And then I kind of ended up going back there. So I at the time, it's weird, but I've kind of been to where I've always been the rock, the heavy metal guy. So I've kind of gone to where whatever station's harder. You know, I was at KCAL, then I went to X, then went back to KCAL. And when I was at KCAL, I had started the Mosh Pit, which was their metal show on Saturday. And then I went back to X and started Extreme X again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember that. And then, I mean, because like I said, we've always been radio listeners, and I just remember you went to KCAL, and then just years later, then I hear that, like, the Morning Stiffies getting fired. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. Like, dude, is this like end of an era? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, dude. And then I remember after that, you started Dirty Radio. So tell us a little bit about, like, how you started Dirty Radio. What was the idea after that? Because I'm sure you were kind of ahead of your time to start some stuff like that, because all that stuff was kind of new.
Yeah. So to finish up the last thought, with FM radio, the decline in sales started to happen because you have Google ads and Facebook ads. And so the money that was spent going towards radio kind of has started to diminish. And so that's what's led to people being let go. You know, stations not being able to afford, 10 different full-time, air personalities. And so that still happens. I mean, radio and even streaming platforms, Spotify just let a shit ton of people go like about 3 days ago.
That's right. Even Netflix let go a lot of people too.
Yeah. And that, with media, that happens. In media, stuff changes. It's real popular at one point, but then, the advertising dollar goes away. But so in the end of me leaving, I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I had left X, and people started joking around with me, like, why don't you make your own station? Why don't you stream? And I had joked like, oh, I'd love to, but I didn't really know the technology, and I started to kind of investigate it. And I woke up one morning and somebody on Facebook had put this thing like, hey, who wants to see Dirty D start his own radio station and stream? Who would listen? And I see it, and I see all these responses, and I was like, wow, that's
yeah,
wild.
I remember that.
Like, and so I remember I went online, I started learning about streaming and all that. And so I remember one day I set my computer up, I had bought this little server stream, and I put a bunch of songs to play. And I remember it was Christmas Eve. I took a drive, and I'm driving in my car, and I'm Bluetooth from my phone to the car, and I'm listening to it crystal clear. And I'm like, holy shit, this is cool. Wow, this is actually working.
Right.
And I had tried it honestly, probably 15 years ago, and it sounded like shit. It was like it was like probably 14. It was really low. It was like 14 kilobytes a second. It wasn't like now. I stream at 128.
Right.
So that's what you're hearing it at. And at 128, that's pretty much digital quality. I tried at 320, but really to the ear through the app, you really can't tell. So I think it's easier for people to have a constant signal with the 128. But I tested it out, and I was driving for 40 minutes, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm listening to Prodigy Breathe, and the bass is hitting, and I'm like, this is fucking cool. I could do this. And so I started talking to some friends and started doing some homework, and then I don't know, man. I went online and said I was going to do it, and then bam, my friend creates a GoFundMe. In 2 days, that went up to $6,000. So that gave me the resources to go buy everything I needed.
Nice.
So then I put the website, the server, and went through a bunch of shit, and just started getting the apps going, and here we are. 7 years later.
That's good, dude. Guys, got questions for Dirty D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
Who, what?
Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
Fucking Lemmy, man, all day.
Trick question.
Yeah, trick question. Lemmy is God.
Lemmy would kick him right in his vagina.
Actually, I got a question for Dirty D. It's Draven here. Out of all the concerts you can think of, what is your most favorite memorable one you've ever been to?
He hung up.
That I did stuff at, or that I just went and saw.
You just went and saw, as
The performance, best performance.
I'm gonna say the first time I saw Pantera as a kid at the Orange Show.
Nice.
It was fucking legendary, and something bad had happened, but it all worked out. But so I had gone there, right, and I was with my kid's mom, right, at the time we were together. And we go in there, we're 14 years old, fucking Pantera. We're inside the Citrus Room at the Orange Show, and we get really close to the stage. We're really close. We're there for we're early. When the band came on, it was so fucking rowdy that some girl got knocked over and people were trampling on her. And we grabbed her, and her face was all bloody. And we were scared. We were scared for ourselves too. But we grabbed her and we pulled her out. And we ended up being in the back, and we just watched, and we were like, oh, that was crazy that happened. It freaked us out, but it was such a good fucking show. The energy. I don't think I've ever seen a show that can compare with that energy in there, and how hot it was inside there. I remember we stepped out of there, and it was like, fuck the Coke stand over there. Give me a drink. But yeah, you know, and then I got to see Slayer in the same room there, a little bit after that, where they recorded the Decade of Aggression CD. A lot of those tracks were recorded there. It's just
that's cool.
That as a kid, man, that was so fucking exciting to see. You know, like I remember seeing Megadeth there, Suicidal Tendencies, Slayer, Pantera. Like it was like, fuck yeah, you know.
No, for sure, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Dick Power, do you have a question?
I have just one question. You've gone over a lot of things with us. I appreciate it. Want to know what would be your go-to, because you've lived a life that's pretty chaotic, pretty crazy, pretty cool. If you could go and see anybody right now, living or dead, right? If you could make it happen, if Dirty D had the power to organize a concert, what would you do?
Nice. Opener and closer.
And it could be people that aren't with us anymore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
I know.
You know, I instantly go to the Doors, man. I don't know. Like I just
hell yeah, dude.
That the excitement of seeing how when they played like on the Hollywood Strip, like that seems so exciting to be able to see them in that raw fashion. You know, kind of like later down the line seeing Motley Crue, you know, on the Strip would have been, you know, crazy. Having a beer thrown in your face by Nikki Sixx or something would have been like, oh yes, yes, thank you.
Taking a hit of horse tranquilizer from Jim.
Really, I've always been kind of obsessed with the LA scene. Both my parents, my family, they grew up in Hollywood right there on San Jacinto Street, which is where the whiskey is, and then a Palm Street where Tower Records was. So when I was a kid, me and my cousins, we'd always walk up to Tower Records and stuff, and I'd always see those marquee signs with all those bands playing there. And I'm like, God, I always imagine like what it would be to be like them and grow up in the 60s in Hollywood. Like shit, that would have been so wild.
Oh, dude, for sure. So anything else you got to plug, Dirty D?
Not really, man. You guys are some cool guys. I appreciate you wanting to talk to me, man. It's been a while since I've, you know, done one of these.
No, for sure. We wanted to, we're pretty pumped up to do this. Like, we wanted to definitely do this podcast. And I know I've been wanting to get you on the show, and sometimes it just hasn't worked out schedule-wise, and I was, like, revisiting it. And so finally, it's cool. And, I mean, if you got time, we'd love to have you in studio and bullshit with you, because I know there's, like, so many more stories that we probably haven't done. You have one more question, DK?
Yeah, and it's a very random question, so
here we go.
Shut up.
Oh, God.
Here we go. Here we go.
Fuck. Why'd you even ask?
There we go. I don't even know why I asked.
Favorite Slipknot song?
Purity.
All right, there we go. And then I'll shut the hell up.
I actually have a BC Rich Warlock. There was Mick Thompson's signature series when he was playing BC Rich. And I named it Purity because that is absolutely one of my favorite songs.
And they took it off and put Me Inside on.
Yeah, I'm just glad that when they had the 10-year anniversary of the self-title, they re-put it back on.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I still have. So I've kept every piece of media that I've ever collected, which is a lot. I still have. I've never gotten rid of anything. And I've inherited record collections from radio stations from my dad and from back in the day. But like some of my stuff I got at X, like the promo copies for Slipknot when they first released their songs. I still have all those. I have the CD single for Wait and Bleed when they sent it to me.
Dude, I actually have something of Slipknot. I don't remember exactly what the name of it is. Something my stepdad got when he went to Roadrunner one time. It's a red vinyl record, like a very rare red vinyl record.
Can you adopt me as your son and leave me in your will?
I actually was talking
your Megadeth collection when you die.
I went to a Static X show, and I was talking to this guy with long hair, and then he left, and they go, "Wow, what was that like?" I said, "What?" He's all, "You were talking to Joey Jordison." And I was like, "I did? Fuck."
I thought I let a random stranger touch my penis.
Yeah, there's another good guy that was so talented, man.
Yep.
So talented.
And died way too young, freaking 46.
Yeah, I love Slipknot though. I have a lot of stories about them. I mean, maybe I'll save that for your live thing, but I'll tell you the first time I ever saw them live was my 1 year anniversary of Extreme X at the Orange Show, and I was on stage, and I'll never forget how I felt. You know when the hair stands up on your arms when you're so like, oh my God. But I'm standing there, and I had to move to the side, and these 9 guys in their masks come by me, and they're walking, and I'm just like, holy shit. Like it really changed the depth of them when I saw them, walk by me. I was like, these fucking guys are for real. Like, this is some fucking, like I, by then, we had seen Kiss dress up, and we'd seen, some of the other people in between, but but Slipknot was like, holy fuck, look at these guys, dude. And they fucking shredded, you know what I mean? Like,
I was at Ozfest 2006, and some person goes to me and says, look, I got an autographed picture of Slipknot, and it was Mushroom Head.
You just said close enough and patted him on his head.
Oh, man.
Close enough.
Mama would be proud.
All right, Dirty. I don't know if you have time to stick around for a little bit so you could do our buddy Psycho's show for like maybe 20 minutes. If not, you can always call back. It's fine. We'll do a different day.
Whatever you guys want, man. Whatever you want.
Cool. Appreciate you. But we're going to wrap
definitely.
up this show if you want to stick around the line. We appreciate you, Dirty D.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome interview. Like I said,
Thank you guys very much.
I could talk to you for a while. 'Cause I know you got so many great stories. But we appreciate Dirty D. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right. And that
Take your
is
top
it.
off.
Have a great day, people.
Thank you.
Thank you.